Marjorie Taylor Greene has had quite the tough go of it lately. I don't think she has recovered since being booed at her own town hall. And now that Congress is back in session, she is feeling the heat not just from her constituents, but from her colleagues. And two of them led to a Marjorie Taylor Greene meltdown. And the first, of course, as is per usual, was Jasmine Crockett, who called out the nonsensical MAGA budget, the disaster that's been Donald Trump's economic plan, and it led to a Marjorie Taylor Greene meltdown. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, of course, we are going to get into Marjorie Taylor Greene's meltdown, but first, we have to see what spurred it on. That was Jasmine Crockett calling out the MAGA BS right here.
Right now, we're cutting jobs as it relates to the federal government. Right now, because of the failed policies around tariffs, we know that we are looking at losing plants. They said that was going to bring plants. They just announced that we had 2 auto dealers that were going to shut down approximately 40,000 jobs. As they then go after NIH, we know that in the state of Alabama, the largest employer in the state of Alabama is the University of Alabama. They are looking at losing jobs because they won't have research dollars. The only thing that they are doing is hurting us. It is the reason, if we're going to talk about numbers and mandates, it is the reason that the only person in recent modern times to have the lowest approval ratings at their 100-day mark is the same person the first time they were in and now this time. It is time for us to get serious and talk about what will grow our economy, what will bring more money in, what will make sure that people can move up from working poor to middle class and maybe even reach this higher level that so many of y'all listen to, this upper echelon, this rich level, because that is what is supposed to set us apart in this country. We are supposed to live in a country where everyone has an opportunity to go from rags to literally riches. And so I am asking my colleagues to start looking out for the people that elected them. And this is one way that we can do it, by supporting this amendment of Ms. Lee. And with that, I will yield. So this amendment specifically deals with issues around the consumer price index. So let's talk about the price of eggs, because for whatever reason, we've yet to have a hearing on the price of eggs when that was really the one big thing. And I remember the big guy that's in the White House saying that he was going to reduce the cost of eggs on day one. But what we see is that the national average price of eggs in March of 2025 was $6.23, a 6% increase from the previous month, a 60% increase year to year, and USDA said egg prices could climb 41% this year. When we start to talk about things such as our energy, in March, natural gas prices increased 3.6% and electricity prices increased 9%. Fuel and oil prices increased 0.8%. Utility gas services increased 2.5%. The national average for a gallon of gas is currently $3.17, nowhere near the $1.98 that President Trump claimed last week. I just want to make sure we get the facts out there. And finally,
I think it's going to become a tradition on this channel, and let me know in the comments if you think it should. I do. But we just clap whenever Jasmine Crockett speaks. I think we just need to applaud her. She's doing such a fantastic job, and those 2 clips were so perfect and just addressing the blatant hypocrisy of MAGA. And of course, that did start to get Marjorie Taylor Greene nice and angry, nice and riled up. But what really put her over the edge and what led her to scream at her Democratic colleagues was Congresswoman Stansbury, who called out Marjorie Taylor Greene, called out the MAGA budget, called out Donald Trump, and it led to that meltdown right here.
People who are frightened by what they see is the absolute attack on their civil liberties and free speech and their freedom. And I actually went to the Social Security office in my district last week and was denied entry and told to call a regional office after I had an appointment, and spoke to people who are waiting, who have literally been waiting for days and weeks because Elon Musk has crashed the Social Security system, firing people. Their computer systems are down. Our call centers are completely overwhelmed, and people cannot get appointments for months. This is what's happening in America right now. And that is why I introduced this amendment, to protect those programs and to fight for the American people and to fight for the programs that we know they depend on so that they can survive. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Greene.
Hi. I'd like to point something out that our Democrat colleagues know this, because they did reconciliation before when they were in charge. And, you know, it may be hard for some of the freshman Dems to understand, but this is not a policy debate. That's not what reconciliation is. This is a budget process. And so for the American people watching at home, our Democrat colleagues are sitting here trying to score points and spread more lies and divisiveness about Republicans in order to spread more garbage across the country. But this is about budget, Mr. Chairman, and this committee is trying to do serious work, and we need to stay focused on budget, and that's for the American people. And it is very serious that's what we remain focused on here in our work on oversight. And the Democrats know that provisions must be carefully crafted because they did it before, and it has to be scored by CBO to be included in this budget bill. And that's what we're trying to do, Mr. Chairman, and I just wanted to point that out for the people watching at home so they are not swayed by this entertainment today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
What is it exactly that Democrats are lying about? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene, a person who can barely read or speak, going to lecture us on math? The party that bans books should not talk about understanding numbers. Let's get that straight. What is being communicated by the Democrats is true. Donald Trump's budget doesn't make any sense because it only makes sense for billionaires. That is no shock. That is no surprise. But it's pretty constant. That's always their plan. It's the corruption. It's the self-serving. And that's what Rep. Kazar was calling out right here.
Democrats need to stand and fight in this moment. Unfortunately, 100 days ago, when Trump was elected, Democrats were in the wilderness, and some political pundits said that the strategy for Democrats was to roll over and play dead. That's what the pundits were saying. But the people we're seeing at these town halls, they want us to stand up and fight. And I think the people have won that argument over the pundits. And now the Democratic Party is finally shaping up. Look, let's be honest. 100 days ago, there were Democrats that were asking, should we go play footsie with Elon Musk? But now our party has shaped up. We're going toe-to-toe with Elon Musk. We're talking about finally taxing those billionaires, raising worker wages, and opposing the Trump agenda in a way that actually brings new voters in rather than sort of just sticking to our existing voters. And I think that's what makes this fight a more important and high-stakes fight even than the one we were in 8 years ago under the first Trump administration.
Of course, a lot of people who feel the way you do are pinning hopes on the next election in 2026, hoping that it will not be a government that is totally controlled by Republicans. Just months after your colleague and fellow progressive, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, failed in her bid to become ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, the job will be open again because Jerry Connolly says he's going to step back soon. Do you believe a progressive can win powerful positions like that will be incredibly powerful should the Democrats be in control of the House in 2026? Where are progressives in this?
Progressives are leading this fight across the country. I was recently with Senator Sanders and Representative Ocasio-Cortez in Tucson, Arizona. We thought that in this mid-sized American city, we could fill a high school gym with 2,000 people at a rally. Instead, 23,000 people showed up. It covered the entire football field. It was the biggest rally we know of in Arizona history. People are mobilized, they're angry, they want to fight back, but they also want a Democratic Party with a renewed spirit that is about workers and not about sort of playing footsie with the billionaire class. And look, that message is important because that same message I took on stage in Tucson, Arizona with Bernie and AOC, it's the same message we can use on Fox News, the same message I'm using in town halls in Republican districts, because this is the reality of the Trump administration. He said he was going to be for workers, but instead he's put the billionaires in charge. And if we point that fact out, we don't have to wait till next election to slow them down. We can start pulling Republican votes off of the Trump agenda and saving our Medicaid, saving our Social Security, and rebuilding the Democratic Party right now.
He believes that the number one issue that he wants to highlight is immigration and the actions that he has taken. He just said in questions and answers at the meeting, the cabinet meeting he had, praising the actions that his administration has taken, giving the borders making the borders much more safety, saying it's the most significant thing he's done. But I want to play for you what he said about immigrants during his Michigan rally last night.
These people are criminals. If they had their way, we would be living in a third world hellhole. That's what they want. Removing the invaders is not just a campaign pledge. It's my solemn duty as Commander-in-Chief. I have an obligation to do it. Save our country.
Save our country. A fact check, which we like to do. The crime rate, again, we said this earlier, among immigrants, lower pretty significantly than for people born in the U.S. But I have to ask you, as the son of Mexican immigrants, have facts been overrun by the messenger?
We have to make very clear what Trump is actually doing to our communities. He's deporting U.S. citizen children, including not just one, but multiple U.S. citizen children with cancer, taking them away from the treatment they need. The people that he is arresting, many of them have no criminal history at all. In raid after raid, in many of my communities in Texas, the vast majority of people have no criminal history. We have to be clear about why Trump is using this oldest trick in the book. He wants to target vulnerable communities. He wants to talk about immigrants all day and categorize them as criminals rather than the people that build our country, because he doesn't want us to be hitting him where it hurts, which is the fact that the economy has gotten so much worse since he got into office, the fact that people are losing their jobs at an unprecedented rate, the fact that costs are going up. Trump wanted to blame immigrants for things like costs going up, when it ultimately is Trump and his billionaire friends that are jacking up prices. So we should defend due process, human rights, civil rights for all people in this country, native-born and immigrants alike, and then hit Trump where it hurts and make it clear that he shouldn't keep on scapegoating immigrants or queer students. And instead, we should be talking about the fact that the billionaires are jacking up your prices, the billionaires are getting a tax break while you are having to pay higher prices at the grocery store. That's the fight back that we need in Trump 2.0.
Now, Congressman Khazar has been on this beat for a while, letting people know that soon Elon Musk will be forced to leave the government. And if he does, great. And if he doesn't, he's breaking the law. But let's talk about when, please God, he does. That does not mean it's time to take our foot off the gas talking about Elon Musk. He will still be receiving millions of dollars a day for his companies, while the damage he has done with Doge not only will still be felt, but will still be persisting. So there will be no stopping the talking about Elon Musk, because he'll also still have his grubby little fingers trying to buy elections all across the country. So let's not let up on anything. Of course, that is what we're going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.